easier and flow better. Hi. Let's see. So I hope I don't have to pee because this is going to be a very strong transmission today. And I am going to try to keep it at 90 minutes, but I have decided to give myself full permission to be in submission to what wants to come through. We might go over the time. If you need to leave, that's cool. Catch the replay. I am going to be the devotee of the goddess rather than time. So that's just my decision that I'm making. And so let's just do some logistical stuff first. We've got the beautiful Elen here supporting and holding this container. She is logged in as Maya admin. And she probably just sent all of you the instructions on how to raise your hand, how to do all the things. Make sure that your video and your microphone is off. That way we don't run into distractions around things popping in and off. And there will be space and time for sharing and bringing yourself in. So let's see, what other logistical things do we have? So one thing I want to say is that the current of this information is so strong, and I know all of you are feeling it, and I've been blown away to see how deep you all are going, and I'm so impressed and amazed and just in awe of what's happening through us, through this. It truly feels like a resurrection, truly, truly, truly. And we're all over the globe, and it's really exciting. One thing I wanted to say is that typically what I notice happens is after these Zoom calls, as soon as I get off the call, I'm flooded with all this information that I didn't say, right? Everything that didn't come through, or the places where I sense there could be misunderstanding or a need for more clarification. Because a lot of this information is quite radical. It is quite revolutionary. So what I've been doing is I've been going on the Facebook group pretty much every day and going live, writing posts, and it's just very natural. It's like my own devotion to wanting you to get the fullness of this is very here for me. So I've been very generous in my offering there. So if you have not joined the Facebook group yet, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to do that. Even if you don't want to post and share yourself there, even if you find it's kind of overwhelming to take in everyone else's sharing, you can click on announcements, and I am archiving everything that I'm posting there. So you'll find a lot of extra support for the material. So just want to really encourage that. It's so interesting. I have to pee. And I'm like, should I pee or should I hold it? I think the feminine way is to pee. So I'm going to pee. We're not locking the doors for another however many minutes. We're going to lock them at 15 after. So I'm going to pee. If anyone else has to pee, I encourage you to pee. I tried to pee before. I did. I have to pee again. And maybe while I'm gone, if anyone has any questions or anything they want to share or have me present about last week and all the practices, send that right now in a chat to my admin. When I get back, I will respond. Sound good? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, bladder has been emptied again. Do we have any questions that came in? We're getting feedback about sound quality. Dang. Okay. Well, if I turn it up, is that better? Is the issue that I'm not loud enough, or is it that it sounds weird, like muffled or something? Lisa says better now. Sounds good to me now. Body is the feedback. When you hold it closer to your mouth, it's better. Right. Okay. Well, I'm still on the hunt to figure this out. I hear it's very tinny. Well, static, voice is static. It's good now. Okay, well, I'm getting mixed messages. I'm getting that it's good and it's also not good. So perhaps what I'll try is to simply just cancel. Good now, really good. Okay. Well, I'm getting a lot of feedback that it's actually good. So I think I'm going to keep it. But I would like to be able to use my hand. Wonder if there's a way I can hide myself. I'm basically trying to figure out a way, and anyone can offer suggestions at some point if they want, to be able to move my body and sway and talk softly, because that's partly how my transmission comes through. And also have you hear me well and not be cut off. So great. Hook it on your ear. Okay, I'm going to spend about 1 more minute playing with this, and then I'm going to stop because we need to do this. How about that? Thanks, Kendall. Great. Okay. So there's no questions and there's no sharing from last week's material. So here we go. First of all, I'm very aware that everything that I'm sharing with you, as we go through week by week, module by module, we're really scratching the surface. And this information is so deep and so potent, and there's so much here. So I'm in the process of creating a small coaching group container of about 10 people to really go deep into this material, particularly the relationship with the inner beloved, the inner masculine. What is it to really be in deep, exquisite relationship with the beloved within? Embodying this flame and rose, which is what we're going into, and what this truth is of feminine power and how to live this in the world, how to create from this place. I think I've just been very, I've kind of opened my eyes to a new world through the process of doing this course, because some of it seems very divinely guided, and I also know that it's because of the place I was creating from that I was able to do this. So I really want to take 10 women on a 3-month deep dive where you'll get coaching from me, you'll have the support of each other to really go deep into this material, because we're limited in some ways with this format, right, in 6 weeks. So if you're feeling a yes and you're really wanting to go deep and you're feeling like this is your way that you want to walk the earth, message me, because I'm going to offer it to all of you first. So, we are entering module 2, the flame and the rose, which is really about the Madonna whore split and what it is to unify that split, because when we unify that split, we get in touch with their true essence, which I'm calling the flame and the rose. So please raise your hand if you read the document called Locating Yourself in the Split. I just am curious how many people here did. So this information is nuclear in its potency, because it's about the real of feminine power. And it's about the way that we have inherited a system and a mythology that has split us in half. And in that split, it has disconnected us from the deep feminine and from what the real of feminine power is. It's given us distorted versions of love and eros. True feminine power is the union of the Madonna whore, is the flame and the rose at once. So the union of the Madonna and the whore, the flame and the rose, is about true sacred sexuality. Yes, that's a part of it. True sacred sexuality, right? But it's about more than that. It's about the true nature of power and innocence. It's really about the deep feminine, because the deep feminine herself is the flame and the rose, right? Just sense into that in your body, right? Something in you knows this. And I think that, right, this is true Tantra. This is the way that the divine meets density. The divine, the Madonna meeting density, the whore, right? I speak of this a little bit in the document called Locating Yourself in the Split, but I want to speak to it now, which is that what I see existing in a lot of the movements on the planet right now about the feminine and the divine feminine is they're still operating from the split. Meaning they are either very Madonna, it's very much about the grace of the divine feminine kind of leaving and going out and praying to her, and she's very soft and she's very gentle. Or it's about getting in touch with our power and our pussy and our sexuality. And it's like they're each missing the other. The first one is missing the embodiment, the humanity, the connection to eros, to sensuality. And the second is missing the purity of heart, the real presence and the soulfulness, right? So it can get caught up in that kind of narcissistic superiority thing. Does anyone notice that? Can you raise your hand if you feel that and notice that? I'm curious because it's something that I've tracked quite a bit, and it hurts my soul. It makes me sad. There's something missing. Yeah, people are saying so well said. Yes, greatly. Yes, greatly. Right. Okay. So part of what makes what I'm doing here in the Deep Feminine Mystery School, I think, a new thing on the planet is because it's about the unification of the two. It's about the true essence of the deep feminine, which actually is both. And really examining the split, because that's where shadow lives. The shadow lives in the split. So another example of this split and how it plays out in the collective is that we have a very strong meme of the Madonna as the perfect woman, right? In the document, I give the definition of the Madonna as the perfect, idealized, beautiful woman. We see this a lot in social media and Instagram, right? It's like women that are really into presenting themselves as perfect. I'm perfect. I've got it all together. I've got the relationship. I've got the perfect job. I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly this. I'm perfectly that. And I can teach you that too. Can you feel the split in that? Right? The worship of the Madonna in that, the myth of the perfect, idealized, beautiful woman, right? And then on the other side, on the collective, we have the sexy meme, where getting in touch with our own Shakti, our own vitality, our own Eros, our own life force, is still in a way caught up in a pornographic, seductive thing. Is this landing for everyone? The split is so deep, okay? It really is deep. Every woman on planet Earth has to contend with this split. It's in the way we run our energy in our own system. And most of us will find that we've been living more the Madonna or more the whore. Some of you will find that you've switched back and forth. Everyone will find that there are places in your life where you run one energy and then places in your life where you run the other energy. The rule of patriarchy is that you are never both at once. You can only be one. Breathe that in. This is a deep program in the collective consciousness. So the truth is that when they come together as one, oh my God, this is the real of feminine power. This is the real of feminine radiance. This is the real of feminine devotion. Devotion not only to the beloved within, to source, God, creator, whatever we want to call it, but devotion in service. And what's possible when we create from this place, when we live from this place. So I want to be very careful right now not to, please do not take what I'm saying as a new version of the Madonna. Like now I've got to do this whole flame rose thing in order to be the perfect woman. It's not that. Because here's the secret that I keep telling you that week 1 and week 2 are all about. The deep feminine current is not something that you do. It's something you surrender to that's already here. We're learning how to soften and drop down and into that current, which has this potent quality of real eros, real love, real divine kissing density, real contact with our own soul, not spirit, soul. And these qualities of the flame and the rose, I have found, live inside the body of woman. They live inside the feminine. So it's not about creating something and doing something. It's about learning how to contact something that's already there, waiting to be discovered, and learning how to hold both at once. When they're both held at once, it creates a new thing, which I symbolize as the flaming rose, love on fire. Right? I have notes for this call because it's such a big call. It's really, really, really important. So I've given you a little bit of a taste about the nature of the flame and the rose and what it's like to bring them into union, but that's not what this week is about. We're going to go really deep into that in week 2. And then in module 3, it's like what is really possible when we're in that current. This week is all about the split. So it is a lot of shadow work. It is a lot of polarity integration work. It is a lot of opening your eyes to the reality of this split, how it lives in your body, how it lives in the collective, and how it's been unconsciously running out. So, woo! I'm very excited. People are saying amen to that. Yes, 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 yes. I think there's one other thing that I want to say because it came up in the Facebook group with people experimenting with these practices I've been giving you, just like naturally opening you to this quality of profound like radiance and magnetism, right? And like, oh my God, all this life force just pouring in, all this Shakti. And is it safe to embody that in the world? Am I going to be safe? Am I going to be okay? And part of that question is because of the split, because we have been indoctrinated into a mythology that makes the Shakti, the vitality, the Eros, the whore. It's bad, it's dirty, it's dangerous, right? And then on the other side, we have this like, you know, fuck that, like just go for it and like throw your sexual energy everywhere. So of course it doesn't feel safe. It's like, well, on one hand, I feel like if I access it, I have to throw it everywhere. And that doesn't really necessarily feel safe. And on the other hand, I feel like if I access it, it's dangerous and bad and wrong. So here's the thing. This is where the Madonna comes in. The Vestal Virgin priestesses were whole unto themselves. Part of the Madonna is purity of heart, but also presence. Naked presence without pretense. That means not a performance. That means a true meeting of the energy with innocence, with respect, with devotion. Devotion meaning you get on a deep level that it's not about you. It's not about you getting the goodies. It's about communing with Source, with the beloved. And in my experience, and I'm sure some of you have this experience too, I can be walking out in the world and relishing in the current, you know, like really, whoo, but nobody necessarily knows because I'm contained within myself, but also because subtlety is so potent. Subtlety is so potent, and it's so necessary when we're navigating these places because the current, the deep feminine current, is in some ways a subtle current. It requires a subtle listening. It requires a subtle surrendering and dropping down and in, right? To feel her, to let her move through. So, woo! All right. Very, very excited about this. So, to resurrect the deep feminine in ourselves, to resurrect the deep feminine on the planet, we have to contend to this split. We have to look at it. We have to get honest about it. We have to work the polarities of it. And we have to bring them into union. And this is not something that will necessarily happen for you in a week, right? It's, in my experience, years and years of journey. But this is also why I want to offer the 3-month small group coaching program for those who really want support in going deep. So I want to do a little practice. And then after we do the practice, I'm going to go into some of the history of this split because it's important that we know where it comes from and what it's actually about in order to shift it. Okay. So I want everyone to close their eyes. Mm. And we're going to go into the surrender process, and I'm going to give you a little bit more of the practice today. So start by letting your face drop. And letting your bottom lip drop. All facial expressions, letting them go. Bottom lip open so that the breath comes in and out of the mouth. And just feel how just this drops you deeper. Becoming supple in your face, dropping down lower. Now softening the belly, letting go of any holding or restriction, any resistance to the moment that you hold in your belly, so that you can let the moment in. So that you can receive yourself in this moment. And then feeling the space inside the back of your head and the back of your heart and the back of your pelvis, literally the depth of your own body. Letting go of the surface and resting in space inside the back of you. And now I want you to imagine that about 6 inches in front of your womb, just below your womb, there is this rich, deep, dark pool of gravity. And that gravity is supporting you to sink down and in. All of the little places that want to twist up and out, let them feel the exquisite power of this gravity just in front of your womb. This rich darkness that's full of love and fertile potency can actually support you in dropping. And as you drop, slowing down your pace inside even more so that you become aware of the spaces in between the moments. You can feel how your body instinctively longs to drop into those spaces in between. Just sensing into it, the spaces in between the moments. See what you make contact with there. See what comes to meet you there. Really feeling how you don't do this. It does you. You let go into it. You let it in. Just keep softening your face. Keep softening the bottom lip. Keep resting into the back body. Keep feeling that delicious, dark pool of loving, fertile power as a gravity that can support your drop. And then starting to open into the supple spine, but don't move up and away when you do it. Just be a piece of seaweed at the bottom of the ocean, being moved by the waves. Being available. Putting your attention on being available. Lingering back with the movement, so don't rush forward into time. Rest back and behind the movement. And just keep letting go, keep softening down. Stay awake. Sweet availability, falling into the space of availability. Now I want you, this is the new part, I want you to notice the sensations in your body. Keep moving and dropping. Keep opening into space. But as you notice the little sensations and the little feelings that are arising, I want you to meet them the way you would meet your lover. You're not just observing them with this detached awareness. You're actually making love to them. Bring your passion and your love to them. The most subtle sensations. Engage your own passion and your own kindness when you meet them and see what that does. you let this current in? Can you let yourself sink into it and receive it? Can you feel that your spine is being moved? Can you be the one being moved, being available to be moved? Can you let subtlety be the most exquisite kiss of the beloved just by way of your availability, just by way of your inner passion and kindness that you can choose to engage when you need tiny sensations and feelings. And then feeling your eyes beginning deep in the back of your head, softening your eye sockets, softening your forehead, softening your eyebrows, and just slowly open your eyes to look at something in the room. Really rest back and let it come to you. Don't reach out for it. Let it come to you. You can dance with it with your spine. You can be in relationship with it. Notice, if you can, the quality of power and the quality of love that lives inside of you here in this space. Good. Beautiful. I want you to keep looking at this object now. And I want you to sense into your yoni, into your vagina, and sense into all the petals of the lips, all the folds. And with your full presence, just start to slowly squeeze the muscles in. Not a Kegel exercise, but a tender gathering of all the little muscles, all the little folds. Gathering yourself into yourself. And when you're all the way closed, just like a flower at night closes, just hold yourself there. And feel what happens in your heart. And then take a little breath in. And as you exhale, relax all the way down, every little muscle until the yoni is wide open, completely drop down, down into earth, down into gravity. And then one more time, gathering in. Gathering in all the muscles, holding yourself for a moment. And then relaxing all the way down, letting the muscles of the yoni completely open down. Down into gravity, down into earth, and just feel what that puts you into contact with. Beautiful. So I want to say one thing about the surrender process because it is really the core embodiment practice of this school for embodying the feminine and opening into the deep feminine current. What I want to say is that it's not just a relaxation of your nervous system. It's a falling into a space that's deeper even than that. And oftentimes those true surrender moments happen in a flash. And you're probably experiencing them from time to time, and it's an instant. And in that instant, there is exquisite fullness. There's exquisite meeting that happens. So it really requires a lot of patience. It's a slow practice. It's very not of this world, right? Because you can't do it. You can do the gateways to help you be accident prone, but you can't do it, and it's very slow and it's very subtle. But our willingness to engage with the slow and the subtle is part of our willingness to value the feminine. Because in my experience, this quality of allowing the core of my being to become a yoni that's actually receiving the moment, that's actually surrendered into myself, into the moment, is the portal into the deep feminine current. And again, there's infinite layers to her blossoming. There's infinite layers to the depth. So you go as deep as you go and you enjoy it, you savor it, you let yourself have it. And you know that there is no bottom. You can keep going and going and going. So part of the reason I wanted to get you into this feminine space is because the information I'm about to transmit to you, your head might get excited about wanting to understand it. And I want you to instead really listen with your body and listen to the part of you that intuitively, instinctively knows and gets and feels what I'm saying. So, make no mistake about it. The Madonna Whore split is at the foundation of patriarchy. And we have to be very, very careful when we talk about this, because it can be very easy to slip into a pattern of consciousness that is anti-men or blaming men, or seeing patriarchy as a system that oppresses men or women. I have a different take on it than that. And I think that it's really essential that we open to a different way of seeing it. Because otherwise we're not going to integrate our inner masculine. We're not going to partner with men. We're not going to have compassion for men. And we're going to simply flip the polarities into the rebellious whore, right? And we're going to miss the blessing of the rose. So I see patriarchy as a flip in human consciousness, a phenomena into a hard swing into valuing masculine principles, masculine values, and a loss of contact with the deep feminine. So this is our favoring. If you remember in week 1, there was that document of, masculine, feminine, kind of the essence of the consciousness of both. You can see that we really value the left side. I mean, it's just true. We give praise and, we give our energy and our time to the left side more, as though it's the important one. This also plays out in the favoring of the transcendent God, the Father God. Look at all the Abrahamic religions, right? They're very Father God. And the truth is that there is a reality of the transcendent God, the God that is beyond the beyond, the beyond, the beyond, the beyond, right? So it's not that that's wrong, it's true. And the deep feminine, which is the tantric current, the tantric spirituality, is reality and density is penetrated by this transcendent one. And you can see how the modern day religions are anti-feminine. They're anti-body, anti-sex, anti-eros, anti-feeling, right? Cut off from the deep feminine, from the place where we contact the divine through the body, through direct experience. So I feel it's also important here to say that patriarchy created a lot of awesome things. Look at the organized world we live in of, governments and politics and cities and knowledge and reason and philosophy and skyscrapers and rockets to the moon. That's all part of patriarchal consciousness. So we've been blessed in some ways. And we've lost touch with the deep feminine. Hence what we're doing here. So this dominator system seeks to dominate the body, dominate the earth, and keep the deep feminine away, right? It also has resulted in a profound disconnection between love and eros. Between the earth, our bodies, and the divine. So, make no mistake about it, this split is at the heart of patriarchy. So, healing the split in ourselves is nuclear. It's big. It has the potential to shake the foundation of this world, which, quite frankly, is quite sick at this point and hurting. And it hurts men as much as it hurts women. So, I want to talk about how we got here. And this is the part that I don't want you to get too caught up in your mind about. Because the truth is that no one really knows how we came to where we are now. How did this happen? right? How did this happen when we know that there was a time on planet Earth when the image of the divine was the big-breasted, big-bellied goddess? This was God. This was the divine. This was the symbol of all that's holy, this dripping, naked, birthing, bleeding, pregnant, goddess, right? So I want to talk about a little bit about the split. It's important to know where we came from. And I don't want you to get too caught up in the story, and I don't want you to get caught up in the linear timeline. I want you to just receive it in your body and make connection to what intuitively feels true. Because my understanding about this comes from my own research, like real academic anthropological research, as well as my own intuition. When I've tuned into the deep feminine current and my sense of what has happened. So, there was a time on planet Earth where, like I said, the image of God, the image of the divine, was this big-breasted, dripping with deep feminine power, erotic energy woman. Yeah. Human beings' connection to the goddess meant that they were connected to the earth, to Eros, to the vital energy that runs through all of creation, and to the divinity of that energy. At this time, women, priestesses, were the center of spiritual life, the center of culture. Spiritual life and culture were very much central. I don't necessarily think that this was a paradise on earth, but I do know that that was the case. So if you remember in module 1, week 1, that beautiful sharing that I gave you, Feminine Mystery of Creation, my sense is that these priestesses were deeply in tune with the feminine as chalice that has the ability to take the subtle, the formless, down into form, and the form density up into the subtle. That's that current, that's that inner channel, that's that chalice that she can become, where she's receiving this deep feminine current, this divine intensity, letting it into her body, making contact with it, and then waterfalling it out into the world. Also, obviously, hunter-gatherer societies, deeply in tune with the earth, deeply in tune with the nectar of the abundance of the Mother Earth, who provides this nourishment. So you can imagine there's all kinds of rituals around that. This deep connection to the mother, to earth, to density, to nature. And this kind of intuitive connection of the sensuality of that, right? That there's this sensuality in the earth blossoming. There's this sensuality in woman growing babies and then pushing them out of her sex. There's this connection between Eros and the sacred that is almost something that we can't even really comprehend today, because the distortion of the split is so strong that you can probably feel it in your body if you sense into it. Creation, abundance, life-giving, erotic, sensuality. So remember, in the tantric path, and we'll be going way more into this in the last module, it's not just a theory, it's not a philosophy, it's literally a technology for how you contact God, Source, through your senses. Through feeling, seeing, tasting, touching, hearing, smelling. What's the last one? Okay. Not as a hedonistic indulgence. That's still the split. Oh, let's just get really turned on. And that's fine. Please do that if you're drawn to do that. But if you want to get the truth of these teachings, enter into that space where the divine is kissing density. It's not just about hedonistic indulgence. It's a quality of presence and love and innocence when encountering the density, when encountering everything that our senses can experience in our embodiment. So there also was a time on planet Earth where humans did not understand that sperm would result in one father. So there was no such thing really as fatherhood for a time. Children belonged to their mothers. We also have reason to believe that sexuality might have been a little bit more fluid and tribal. So fatherhood was more like unclehood, right? All the men were kind of in that role with all of the children. Children belonged to their mothers. So you can imagine what would happen when the full awareness and full consciousness came through that, oh, actually, this act of sex and ejaculation produces one father, right? One father and one mother. So it was also around this time that agriculture came through. Instead of hunter-gatherers, we move into agriculture. Agriculture is about ownership. Rather than sharing, it's my plot, my cattle, my, right? And it's about dominating and controlling the earth and getting the earth to do what we want rather than just receiving and being in sacred relationship with her abundance. So here's where it gets important. The concept of ownership coming in and the awareness of fatherhood means that human beings now need to control female sexuality in a new way. Control it to ensure that she's only receiving the sperm of one man so that we know who the father is. This is the beginning of a mythology. And again, not men in a conspiracy theory to take down women. A phenomena of human consciousness evolving over time that needed to create a mythology around female sexuality being dirty, dangerous, bad, wrong in order to control it. So everyone breathe that in. And you can feel the implications of that onto the connection between Eros and the sacred, and the kind of fertile, wild, abundant, sensual goddess of reality, goddess of nature, right? I also, in my intuitive dive into this swing, have received the information that prior to patriarchy, in that more shamanic, goddess-focused, hunter-gatherer time, there was an incestuous relationship with mother, with actual mother, like a merging, right? And that plays out with the goddess, with the earth, with the actual mother, and that this served and was okay, but as human consciousness started to evolve, it started to become toxic. And so the masculine consciousness rose to create differentiation from the mother, which is also part of the sacred father, right? Child is merged and bonded to mother, and then at some point, father comes along and says, I will show you the world, right? There's more than just this bond. So again, take a breath. Don't get caught up in the mental story too much. Feel it in your body, right? There's also some evidence that there was an ecological trauma that happened on the planet that changed the planet, that led to desolation, right? What once was abundant became a more threatening, desolate place, which meant that the men needed to rise up and fight for survival, and that women became dependent on the men for their survival, right? Because women are pregnant and bearing children and taking care of children. So it's the men's role to go out and brave the harsh landscape for survival. And that this this survival trauma basically just got handed down, generation to generation, creating what I call the clench, right? The survival clench, the warrior clench, and the feeling of betrayal of the feminine, you know, this goddess, this earth that once was so generous, now becoming, cutting us off, right? So, the Madonna whore split. Female sexuality, dangerous, dirty, threatening, and also the separation between the divine and density. I'm going to read the codes for this week. Just maybe close your eyes and receive this in your body. The Madonna code. They call me a saint. They are mistaken. How would they know anyways? High, high, high up, too far for you to reach. You mistake me for an angel. You do not know my kindness is sharp like a needle, piercing, shattering, kind like the edge of a knife or that rough cut of land between ocean and abyss. It is surgical. The sound of bells echo in a hall. I miss my sister down below. I possess the tenderness of stars, supernova gentleness, a caress like an exploding sun. My other name is screaming radiance. My sound has been muffled on this pedestal. Only clouds are my friends. My light is intended for dark corners. I am galactic ecstasy, known in the tiny places. But you have taken me from gravity. You do not understand my true nature. You have forgotten my true name. I am Rose, yet you divorce me from earth. I will not speak of love because you cannot hear me. You are not close enough yet. I am high above you. The birds are my lovers. I am always out of reach, just past the tip of your desire. You hunger to know my perfection, yet you misunderstand perfection. I will not yet speak of perfection. You would not understand. You have mistaken me for someone else. Love is waiting to be known. The secret of perfection I can reveal in an instant, but only if I whisper in your ear. I am here waiting, always waiting, on my pedestal, waiting to be born into the real. Take a breath. What I really want you all to understand is that the flame and the rose in union are the deep feminine. They are the perfect representation of the deep feminine current, and they live inside of woman's feminine essence. The separation of the flame and rose has created the distortion that we call Madonna and whore. So, the whore code. You have buried me in earth, shoved strange sounds down my throat. You do not realize I am too big for your packaging. High heels and corsets, but I am forest and thunder. I am that sound you catch in the distance. I have birthed 10,000 children. I am your mother. You do not realize I belong, but I belong most of all. I am the core of truth, the blood and the unknowing that is knowing. You have made me a demon. If you only knew that I am that innocence of wind, a wild horse running full speed. I am that joy of rippling muscle. I am that one. You have called me evil. This has nothing to do with me, no. You call me evil because I expose what you do not want to see. So you have banished me, made me an enemy, something to extinguish. Yet I am relentless. There is nothing wrong with me, no, but I hold a secret truth, a precious jewel, a liberation, your secret key to freedom, terrifying to behold. Power pushed underground can still whisper in tongues. You mistake my muffled sounds for a dangerous seduction. I am tired of all this mistrust of me. I am even that one who shakes with fear in my own presence. I am that roar of love just behind your nearest attention. I am the tremble. I am the language of tremble and the guttural moan of deep night. You mistake my intensity for danger, forgetting the face of my many names. You do not see that I am a means to an end. I am a doorway to another side. I am bridge into holy water. I miss my sister up above. I am ready to be resurrected from this grave. So, next week we will go deeper into the true essence of the flame and the rose. This week we excavate the Madonna and the whore. This way that true feminine power has been split in half. The way that our connection to the deep feminine has been cut off. The way that our indoctrination into this split has created all kinds of distortions and subpersonalities and false ideas about love and eros. Another important piece here is that, so if this is the way that, I mean, there's two levels, obviously, right? This is the split in the deep feminine, but it's split in woman, right? There's two levels to this. The split in woman means that we are constantly trying to get our power by bouncing back and forth, because each side seems to offer the answer to the other side. In patriarchy, we have been initiated into a system that does not recognize feminine power, the power of the feminine. So in this split, the loss is power. Of course, power is never lost. But when you start exploring the material and exploring this in yourself, you see that each side is trying to get power, trying to get power back. Yet they are incomplete without each other. And this also, it's a war within ourselves, right? Okay, I want you to really get that. It's a war within yourself. But oftentimes we play out and project this war with other women. By judging their sexuality, by competing to be the most perfect Madonna, by loving to tear that Madonna off her pedestal, by expecting women to be perfect. So I think I want to open it up now for anyone that wants to share or ask a question, or I can feel myself in this moment not sure how much more to go into, because I've given you a lot of documents that really break down this split and what it looks like and what it is. So, you know, we could go into and explore that, but that's also going to be what your whole work is this week. I think I'll say this. I want to say this, yeah. So this week, the deeper dive, which is always optional, right, as well as the mystery mission, which is always optional, are the same. And it's a very, very, very deep, intense process where you live a day in the shoes of either the Madonna or the whore. And you get to really, really, really lean all the way into that polarity. And I have rules for you in how you live that day. If you're doing a day as the Madonna, you don't wear makeup. You dress very conservatively. You do not draw attention to yourself. If you think about sex, you correct yourself. You keep your attention off of anything that has to do with your desire. Whore means she who desires. So as the Madonna, you focus on service, devotion, serving your husband, serving your children, serving strangers, always focused on doing what is right, what is virtuous, what is good, what is pure. And you get to feel the blessings and the suffering of that archetype. You get to feel what so many women have experienced on planet Earth. Because the truth is that each side has blessings and has traps of suffering. That's why they're incomplete without each other. If you do a day as the whore, You dress yourself up really sexy, what feels really good to you. And you do what you desire. You do what you want. You focus on getting your desires met. You focus on pleasure. You focus on speaking your truth. That's a big part we're going to get into in the flame, the blessing of the whore, which is being able to stay in the overwhelm of our truth, the truth of our soul, and stay in that overwhelm. And speak it and transmit it and be it in the world. But with love, with kindness. So as your day as the whore, you say all the hard truths. You speak your mind. You take up space. You be loud. You be provocative. Get in people's faces. Be seductive. And you get to experience the blessings and the suffering of what it is to run that energy. And then at the end of the day, I have you flip and do a practice that is actually the other side. So it's a very powerful way. So in Tantra, one of the ways that we can shift our energy is by leaning into repression first. It's like the champagne bottle. We cork it down, we repress it, repress it, repress it. And then when we let it out, the channels can open and flow. The women that live the Madonna more have trouble accessing their erotic energy, accessing their truth, standing for themselves, making people uncomfortable. Following their desires. Women that are more living the whore can be quite hedonistic and narcissistic and overwhelming themselves constantly with intensity. And kind of like, fuck everybody, it's all about me. It can also be quite jaded and hurt. As I shared in one of the documents, if you are a woman who was more living the whore, which is what I came in as, and I've developed the access to my Madonna. And so the Madonnas need to access their erotic energy, their deep connection to earth, their power, their truth, their own desires. Whores need to contact their real heart, not their emotions, their real heart, their innocent heart, their pure heart, their devotion, forgiveness. A lot of whores have been very wounded. And this was my story because I came in with a lot of Shakti, a lot of like wild, just like energy and curiosity and adventurousness and very in touch with my vitality and my sexual energy and very like had an innocent, relationship with it. I didn't see it as bad. I didn't see it as wrong. I was just like, yes. And then what happens is the Lilith wound, where we come in and for whatever reason, our Shakti is so powerful that we just cannot conform to the good girl. So we get made into the bad girl. And we get shamed. And we get exiled. And we get rejected. So each side has a different wound and each side needs the blessing of the other to come into integration. And the daily practice for this week is different depending on if you are more of a Madonna or more of a whore. And obviously when I say the word whore, I don't mean it in the way as a degradation, right? We're talking about the split. So when you read the document called Locating Yourself in the Split, really take time with it and see. And if you find that you are more of a flipper, then maybe do both. Do every other day. Do what feels right to you. But my invitation is to really locate yourself and then do the practices for that. And then next week, we're going to get into what actually is the flame. Because it's not just about sex, not just about sexual energy. The flame is way more than that. And we're going to get into the true essence of the rose, which is not just sweet, it's love in a big, fucking potent way. So we've got some questions and things. Anna Isabel says Lilith Eve. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mentioned that in the document. The split plays out everywhere. You see it once you start becoming aware of it, you see it everywhere. It's in movies, it's in songs, it's in news stories. It's a big part of the collective consciousness. So please go hunting for it in yourself, because it does live in you somehow. And I also mentioned in the document, right? So in the Jewish Christian tradition, Adam actually had a wife before Eve, who was Lilith, who was made equal to him, made out of dust, just like him. And the story goes that Lilith refused to submit sexually. She refused to lie beneath him. So she got banished from the garden, right? For being a whore, essentially. And then she went on, she's the demoness, having demon babies, coming to men in their sleep at night and making them have premature ejaculation, sucking the semen out of them. It's really important, y'all, that you notice that when you start to open to the real Shakti that's in the current is not just Shakti, it's also the holding ground of love in the totality of density. But when you start to open to the yumminess of that true eros, you're going to come up against something in you that's like, is this dangerous? Is this bad? Is this wrong? Lilith. So Kendall, if you want to resend that question, because it sounds like you didn't fully. Does anyone have a question? We're dying to hear about the thunder in that text. I've merged the two. So I'm not going to say more about the merging. I'm not going to say more because that's week 2. What I want you to do this week is really look at the split. And the deep dives this week are about integrating the polarity through some really, really, really potent practices. And I also want you to remember that this work is not just about you, it's transpersonal. This is rippling out into the collective woman, to the collective loss of contact with the deep feminine, because this split is at the core. It's not just about women. That's part of it, and that's mainly what we're looking at this week, how the split operates in woman. And it's not just in identity. Identity is part of it, right? Good girl, bad girl, quiet, demure, serving others, versus like loud, intense, pleasure-seeking. Those are behavior-based, yes, but this is also in how we run our energy as women, how we run our energy, which is why the split can play out and look like, some areas of your life you play the Madonna and the good girl, and then some areas of your life you play the whore and the bad girl. A lot of women have this, where it's like we have our little places where we like to break free. Woo! I'm going to be the bad girl now, which nothing wrong with that. But these teachings are about what is it like to run those energies at the same time in their essence, not as a reaction to each other. Oh, cool. We've got some hands raised. Let's see. Emma, I'm going to call on you. Let's see. Video. Unmute. Are you with us?
Hi,
Hi, babe.
how are you?
Good.
It's a lot. It's intense. It's beautiful. It's exactly where I'm meant to be. I feel it. I feel it. This is so powerful, and I realize how I've lived my entire life from the Madonna
Mm,
entirely, and the whore inside of me wanting to just like break loose, you know.
yeah.
Um, I have vivid recollection of the whore as a real young child,
Mm,
and have like just feeling that energy, just and it wasn't like sexual, but I just feeling the life,
yes. Yes.
what is this, and then having the remembrance of being shut down, like the shame.
Right.
So now it's like, oh, I'm just like I'm vibrating like my entire body. It's like, like I'm sensing the next level of awareness. I don't even know the words I want to express this.
Totally.
And
Do you want to try something really quickly just for a minute? Okay. So that energy that you're talking about that you could sense, that's like, it's not, sexual isn't quite the right word, right? But you know it.
all over me.
Good. So close your eyes and I want you to just tune into that, and everyone else on the call can do that too. And now I want you to meet it with absolute innocence
Mm.
and purity of heart. Like really see it as so innocent. Open your heart to it. Just see what that does.
Mm.
Drop your bottom lip. Just kind of let go a little bit more. You can be held here. So this is the place where I experience literally falling in love with, I don't know what to call it, the beloved, existence, God, reality. This is feminine prayer. Beautiful love. Yeah.
Feels like crying with joy.
Yes, crying with joy. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
heat is so intense.
Beautiful. Oh, right. Beautiful. Well done. Way to do that in just like a little moment and transmit that. Yeah. So exquisite love. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm really excited for what you're being willing to open to. Yeah, that joy, it's causeless joy. That's what they call it in Tantra. It's joy that has no cause, joy that is not because of circumstance, not because of the surface. It's just intrinsic to our soul meeting reality from the body,
It's a
from
sense.
the current of that Shakti with love and innocence present.
Huge sense of belonging, like a connecting. It's just
Yes.
like it's free, it's fluid, it's just beautiful.
Wow. Wow.
It's warm, it's indulgent in an innocent way, like
Right.
no expectations. It's just so
Right. Available.
yeah,
That's the availability.
free and but it's not intense and as in possessiveness, it's intense as is.
Right, that's right, because you're supple with it, right? That's why we do the surrender, and the suppleness is the first. I love that you said it connects you to everything. That's such a big part of it. It is. It's like an indescribable feeling of being connected with the sacred spark that's in everything.
There's no fear. It's just like you belong, and it's just a safe space of
Yes.
love and beauty, and just like I just feel it everywhere. I feel it everywhere.
Ah! I love how you're describing this. It's so exquisite. And
Oh,
it actually makes me remember that there's something I wanted to say, which is that the times in my life when I have really, really been like deep in this current and also been out in the world, I feel so safe. And I think it's because it's rooted in this sharpness of instinct. Like there's a power that you're in touch with, and that power is safe.
yeah.
It's like I could handle anything right now because it's in touch with this true power.
Yeah. But it comes from a place of love, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where this the sexual energy is it's like it's life, and it's not it's so there's innocence in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not like I'm here to provoke you and seduce you and like look at me kind of thing. There's like it commands respect because it's
Oof.
love, and it's like it's admiration, and it's like who are you?
Right.
Who
It's
are you?
devotional.
Yeah.
I would say it's devotional. It's in devotion and reverence of life
Hmm.
rather than taking it personally as like me and my yummy energy.
Yeah.
It understands deeply that this is not me, but I get to open and receive it.
Yeah. And it's like
I get to be blessed by it.
yeah. There's a merging of the two, I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I can't fully explain it. I hope that I'm explaining it, but it's just
You're
so
explaining it so beautifully. I feel like everyone on the call is just like in praise and reverence of you. Thank you so much for sharing this embodied
thank
transmission. Yeah,
thank
so much love to you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call on Kate next. So I'm going to, there we go, unmute. Kate, I've asked you to start your video, so you should have got a, yeah, there we go. But you're still muted somehow. Yulan, if you have any support there. Well, it says you're unmuted. There we go. Just
Hiya.
dropping in while also doing technology, you know. Hi.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I've completely lost where. I think I raised my hand when you said, if this is resonating for you, raise your hand.
Got it.
Because all of it has really resonated.
Well, share with us what you're experiencing in this moment right now.
I have spent quite a few years on a spiritual pathway that's taking me up and to this, how you're describing the Madonna, the Mother Mary, and has completely missed for me. What I found was the more that I let in whatever this was that they were talking about, light or love, or the more erotic it felt, and that was really very judged in me, and I just couldn't reconcile it. I couldn't make sense of why it was feeling like this in my body, and this is just like such a relief.
Oh my gosh, wow. What an epic share. That's the thing. It's like as much as we try to split them, they aren't split, and they never were.
Look at us all, and we sit still in meditation. And now you're doing this. I think, why aren't we all? Of course, why aren't we? Why do we? I got very good at that single point of stillness, but this, her house, it's such a relief. I can't tell you.
Oh, beautiful! Wow. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, is that the feminine is and has always been the down current, down into density, into gravity, into the sacred spark that's here, that we contact through earth, through body, through senses. Otherwise, it's just a concept. This is how we actually get to meet.
Yeah. Exactly that. This is how it feels. It's exactly that. And we're supposed to feel it in our bodies. That's why we're here.
Right, that's right.
Correct. Yeah, but it felt wrong, and it's such a relief to be here. And
Right, so isn't that interesting? It felt wrong. Yeah. Yep. That's split. Something vaguely wrong about this.
Yeah.
And then like I said, a lot of us attempt to heal that split by grabbing onto it and being like, oh, this isn't wrong, and then kind of having like a naughty relationship with it. Oh, it's so sexy, it's so naughty, which again is it's just swinging into the other side, and this is really, really the union. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that I accidentally called on you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure for me, Kate, to really feel how deep you're going with this work. Like really, it's been beautiful for me to receive you in your unfolding. It's been a gift for me.
Grateful. It's meant such a lot. It means such a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, love. All right, let's see. Fatima wants to... Elon, if you could support with getting Kate's video off and muted, that would be great. Fatima, I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to request that you start your video. Oh, Fatima, are you with us?
Yeah, I am. You can hear me?
Hi. All the way from Pakistan.
Yeah. So I think you have been speaking my heart out literally on this Madonna and War split. I mean, the way you have communicated the meaning and how the patriarchy is playing currently, and the new meaning of liberation which women empowerment is having right now, and the way I felt about it, the hatred against men, and the way distorted masculine is playing inside the women and claiming their power. This was exactly what I have been feeling, exactly. And just like for myself, I mean, I can say that yes, the early years of my life were more of like a Madonna, a very good girl kind of thing. In teenage and related to adult, I became a very rebellious person towards my parent and towards so many things in my life. And then again, I shifted down into that Madonna role.
Yeah.
And now since last probably 7 or 8 years or something like that, I see them at war, really at war. I clearly recognize the split which is happening inside me, and I'm really, I mean, thirsty about bringing a balance between both of them. So
Beautiful.
so this is really deep core getting into my heart. There was
Yeah.
one thing which you mentioned in during the transmission when you said that when this was the early era when the goddess was the main person taking lead, and then some you mentioned something related to agriculture, that when agriculture came in, it was somehow a way of trapping, or somehow a way of changing this notion of sexuality. So I just wanted to know little bit more about it. I mean, what does it mean? I mean, how agriculture is related to all these things, because this is also something very deep related to my heart, and I have been trying to follow it somehow, and then I slipped into you,
Sure.
and then I
Yeah.
so that's how.
Yeah. So I don't want to say too much about that, but I'll say a little bit. So agriculture began a legacy of ownership and domination of the earth. Yeah. So I want to say you're beautiful, to your beautiful share, that there's something in what you shared that feels like such a core piece here of why we are unifying the split, because true power is not the dominator,
Exactly.
is not the junior masculine, which is what we've been taught power is, the clench, the control, the hey. True power is also not swinging into the rebellious whore that like gets what she wants and does what she wants and desires what she wants. That's not true power either. True power, in my experience, is open to and surrendered to as a current in reality that I can receive in my body that is separate from me and the same as me at the same time. Feminine power, anyways, happens through this flame and this rose, and through surrendering into the current where that is already true in my own body and being. So the truth of feminine power is something that I don't even think has, been born yet on the planet. And that's part of what I'm really passionate about in this resurrection. Like, what is true feminine power and how it actually looks and feels quite a bit different than what we've been told power is.
And during the second week, specifically related to the surrender process, and the in moments in my life when I have been feeling this divide happening around me, inside me, there something in myself has always been looking for a loving and a compassionate way of receiving it, and to feel it. I mean, the way you were saying, and I think the other lady was saying that yes, it is. I mean, coming from a very non-expert. I mean, coming from a very compassionate space, and which is not something related to anybody asking you to do something. It is coming from a very natural and very flowing state. That's what I was looking for, and I'm totally blown away. Totally blown away.
And part of the whore and the flame also is our totality, right? The Madonna is like, woman has to be this perfect thing. Our totality is really the truth, But again, I don't want to get too far ahead in the material. We're going to just focus on the split this week. Fatima, thank you so much for sharing yourself. Yeah.
Thank
Does anyone else want to chime in before we end the call? Raise your hand, type a comment. I just love you all so much. I'm really proud of us Okay, so gentle reminder, or just to put this back in your head after all that information. Actually, let's all take a deep breath. And I actually want to end every call this way now. So I'll just give my logistics first. Remember to join the Facebook group and click on announcements to get all of the yummy goodies that I post there about the material or to ask questions. And if you're feeling like you really want to go deep with this and the real feminine power and how to live it in the world and be part of the 3-month small coaching container, reach out to me. So the way that I want to end the call is by doing a little moving prayer together. So just place your hands, palms up on your lap. Drop your face, drop your lips, drop into the back body, drop the belly. Find a little suppleness in your spine. We give thanks to existence for everything that was brought through. We trust that we received the information on a level deeper than only our minds. We say yes to examining and exploring this split and how it lives in us and in the collective and in deep feminine. So you're just going to slowly raise your palm up hand, very slowly, and you're really just feeling the density of all the information. You're lifting and raising it up, bringing the density into subtle. You can really feel it when it touches the level of the heart. Oh. And you're raising your hands all the way up to the above, all the way up to the subtle. All the density of this split and this information. Raising it up. Offering it up. And then with your hands up all the way outstretched above your head. Turn your palms down towards your skull. And slowly bringing the new consciousness in. All the way down through the crown of the head. You don't need to touch your body, just have your hands pointed towards your body. Receiving, receiving, receiving down through the heart. All the way down into the womb, and the belly. And then end by gesturing your hands out to offer to the planet. That completes our call. I will be posting all of your goodies on Trello tonight. Feel free to pop on with your voice or your video or both and just send your energy and your love. It's beautiful to be with you all. Thank you. Thank you all.